This isn't really a tutorial. I'm hoping just to maybe run into some problems and kind of show everyone my experience of setting this up and using it. So the first thing we need to do is solder up power to the camera board here. Got positive and negative right here. And according to the website, it'll take 2 to 6S, which means keeping it in between like 7 and 24 volts. So we'll just run a 3-cell for now. All right, let's wire this up. That's good. Do a quick sanity check. Positive, red, negative, black. So we should be good. All right. So now the next step is to plug in the camera board into the Wi-Fi board, which I believe happens with this cable. Let's see here. See if we can find what it says on the website here. Fortunately, there's no direct pinouts for this. There's not a lot of documentation for this yet. So, but it looks like this is pretty much foolproof. And then this one plugs into here. Make sure we got the pins on the right side. Okay, this is Crystal from the future here. After doing some research, and one thing I figured out is that number one, I apparently have a V2 version of the board, as you can see here. The difference is that this smaller 4-pin connector that runs to the Ethernet daughter board is different from what it was apparently the V1, and this is the V1 taken off the Emax website. As you can see, that secondary smaller cable has 4 on the V1, and here's that same connector. You can see it's a 3-pin, and then the wire coming off the Ethernet board is only 3-pin. So I did a bunch of looking around, couldn't find any documentation on it. So eventually I just ended up plugging it into this center 3-pin connector, which is the same connector placement as the 4-pin connector. So I plugged it into here and everything seemed to work. Nothing blew up. So I believe that is the correct way to wire this up. And then of course you want the big wire going to the big, what's that, 7-pin connector, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-pin. And everything else is pretty obvious, but this connector was different apparently in the V1, and I've got the V2. So double check what version you had. As you can see here, you'll see the V1, V2 right under the MIPI connector on the camera board. Okay, back to present Crystal. But for now, we don't have to have this hooked up and running yet. We can at least plug everything in and see if we get some video. So let's try that. Okay, so of course before we turn anything on, we need to attach the antennas. Don't want to be frying something accidentally. So go and plug these in. Make sure they're properly seated. Let's get a USB connector for this, and then battery for this. Got this big chunky boy 4S. So now, according to the video, we can plug this into USB down here to power it. So let's see here. And then, so we got USB for power for this, we got power for this here. Then we need to go to the OpenIPC GitHub. It's OpenIPS, OpenIPC. And there should be a download somewhere for an app for running on the phone here. And where to go? It's OpenIPC pixelpilot is the name of the program. So there we go. I'll download this real quick. There's a link. There's the APK. Here under assets. Open this. Install. And I've got third-party apps enabled on this and everything already in developer mode. So, okay. So now we should be able to power this on. And they say in the video to power it on. Ooh, there is a fan in there. Cool. And they say to let it boot up for a few seconds. So we'll do that. And then we shall plug this in. That fan's really cooling. Looks like it's connecting. this up and see some pictures. Let's just double check this real quick. Let's do a quick sanity check. Alright, got my handy dandy pocket multimeter. Alright, let's just check and see if there's a short on this real quick. It's always a good idea to do when you've been soldering. It's good. Okay, let's plug it in and, oh! Something we need to do before we make the magic smoke here, put the antennas on this thing. Not all transmitters, but a lot of them can fire their automatic gain controllers. If you don't have these on. Oh, I hate these connectors. Micro FL connectors should not exist, but they do. Okay. We got that on. We're not going to blow our amplifier on this RF circuit. So let's go ahead and fire it up. Take this off. See what happens. Here we go. Got sanity check and going negative to negative, positive, positive. And there we go.
And you're going to want to make sure that you are on channel 132. All of our VTXs out of factory are going to be set on 132.
Okay.
That's going to be our default channel.
I think we need to change the channel to 132. It says we're on 161 right now. Let's try plugging this back in.
Channel.
Oh,
so that
there
way
we go. We've got something going on. All right. Looks like the OSD's all messed up, but that's okay. At least we got video. Looks pretty dang good. It's interesting how it's nice. This is fairly low latency, at least from this close. Boy, that sucker gets hot. The camera definitely is getting very warm. That sucker's getting warm. Ooh, ow, ooh, that's burning hot. Okay, let's unplug this. Oh boy, these things get hot. Ooh, dang. I'm gonna plug in my IR camera here and see what sort of temperatures we're getting off of that sucker. So I wanted to be able to use my IR camera here to get some readings off of this for the temperature. Completely unplugged and sitting at right around 66 degrees. I won't trust that reflection part, but okay. And it's over here. We've got a fan running on it too. So let's plug it in and see what happens. to 80 degrees Fahrenheit on this one. And what do we got here? About 80 degrees on this one. Oh, we're up to 100 already. Get this fan going. Then we got video. Let's see what sort of temperature we're at here. That's not bad with the fan on. It's we're sitting at like 77 degrees. I'm sorry, 76 degrees. Oh wow. 90 over here. As you can see, the sucker's heating up. How are we doing over here? I'm sitting at about 100. That's with the fan going. Turn off the fan. Sucker's really starting to heat up. Oh yeah, we're at 150. All right. Good. The fan's going off. That sucker is climbing fast. Let's take a look at this thing. See what thermals we got coming off of it. Well, this has got a fan in it, as you can see. And the case on the outside isn't getting too hot. Hope seems decent. Yeah, this is definitely going to need some cooling. Probably more than just a heatsink too. So if you're putting this in a fixed wing, you're going to want to be careful. One thing I did notice is that there is a fan connector on the back of this, and I would definitely recommend getting one, especially if you're going to be, or at least putting a large heatsink on the back of this, especially if you're going to be sitting, you know, having it sit around for any amount of time. It seems to run cool enough with a fan on it, but as soon as there's not a fan on it, it gets hot, especially if you're going to be flying a foam fixed wing or something with it tucked away in the fuselage. You're definitely going to want good ventilation, and I would probably take advantage of this fan. So I'm thinking about probably building a case for it that includes a fan to house both of these units. But I'll figure that out later. Well, overall, I'm pretty impressed by it. It's everything seems to work pretty good. Now let's try to attach to this and see if we do some configuring of it. Okay, let's see what sort of stuff we get. Let's see what we can control with the app here. See what sort of settings are available. So let's make sure to have the fan going on this thing, because boy, it gets warm. Unplug this for now. And that was looking. And there we go. Got some video. Crazy OSD stuff going on, but let's see what we can adjust here. See VR mode. VR mode, does that mean it's gonna... VR mode apparently isn't available yet. Let's see. You can see set the channels here. OSD. Interesting. Lock OSD, lock OSD. Okay. There must be some sort of binding key, perhaps? Recording. Oh, we got recording here. So we can start recording there if we want, in that FMP4 format. We gotta help. We could send logs. So that's useful, but it doesn't look like we've got any settings to the camera. So let's go through and hook it up through the Ethernet attachment. So what I did was I plugged this into my router, and then I used a program called Advanced IP Scanner, we've got IP range that I use for the house. Because one of the problems I was having last night was the fact that like there's no information on like whether or not this is like accepts a dynamic IP or if it's got an IP hard coded into it, a permanent IP or what. So I was able to find it on my network using advanced IP scanner. Oh, whoops. Oh, helps if I plug this in. Okay. So we're going to initialize and let it scan. Okay. Here it showed up. Through the process of elimination, I figured out it was this, that it's the manufacturer will come up as this compal information. So then, now that we got the IP address, and then open putty. Oop, that's not putty. Paste this in there. And then we can open up the configurator. That should be in my downloads folder. So now supposedly we're supposed to have this open and then we could run the OpenIPC configurator. Everybody warns, do not start your OpenIPC configurator until you've got putty running. So now that we got putty running and we got the correct IP in here, let's open up this and see what happens. Get more info and run anyway. Oh, we need to download a .NET runtime. Oh boy. That automatically downloaded. Let's install this. Hopefully it's not a virus. It looks legit. Okay, let's try running it one more time. There we go. And then we'll make sure to put the right IP address in here. I don't know why it's throwing all these errors. Oh boy. Oh boy, what is going on here? Well, it looks like it's complaining because it's not hooked up yet, so. Okay, let's try this again. Open up putty. Then let's open up the configurator. Oh, that's nice. At least the crash has stopped. Connect. And we got connection refused. Install the latest version of putty and try again. You do have the latest version of putty installed, I believe. Alright, let's see what we gotta do here. Cool. We got something going on. Yay. We did something. Alright. So now we can come in here and change all of our settings. Sweet. Now we know that the IP is 212. All right.